Hi everybody, my name is Sean O'Kane with Chip Estimate TV. We're on the sky deck of the Santa Clara Convention Center here at Memcon 2013. I'm here with the Gold Dust twins, Brian Fuller and Richard Goering, the cool guys, the editorial staff for Cadence. Guys, the first half of Memcon has finished. All the keynotes are done. You had Martin Lund talking about Cadence IP and the strategy. You had Mike Black with Micron and also Bob Brennan from Samsung. I spoke with Bob, I just want to throw this out there, about his keynote, and he talked about the speed, the ultra-fast NVM technology that they have for proficiency and low power efficiency. They are really wrapped around the green technology. And in fact, he touched on the fact of the new facility at First and Tasman, and that was designed with this green technology and Samsung green technology in mind, and all their low power green technology and energy efficiency. Why is that important? And are they leading the way in this?
Well, let's take a step up, because
okay.
his presentation was fabulous. Actually, it's probably one of the more granular presentations we heard in the morning, but it was of a piece, right? If you heard Mike Black from Micron, you heard Martin from the IP group, and you heard the panel late in the day. What comes out of that is there are enormous challenges to scaling certain memory types going forward, but everybody is pursuing various kinds of solutions. Some of them non-trivial, and some will win and some won't. And we heard a lot of insight about what might win.
That's right. It's kind of an alphabet soup of possibilities right now. We heard people talk about wide I/O and about the hybrid memory cube, two standards that are pushing us in the direction of 3D stacked die architectures. We heard about LPDDR4, about DDR4, DDR5 potentially down the road. A lot of possibilities, and people are just trying to evaluate what's practical, what could go into volume production, where are we going to be in a few years from now with memory.
Now, I spoke with Martin Lund about the recent acquisitions Cadence had of IP companies and how Cadence is addressing the particular challenges for integration and IP verification. Could you talk a little bit about that and how important that is?
Well, clearly, when you're designing a very complex SoC, you can't design the whole thing, right? So as memory architectures get more and more diffuse, and people are trying to differentiate on a low power solution or a high bandwidth solution or something like that, you have to offer as many cores as possible to do that in the SoC environment. But we also heard from people who are in the business of discrete hard solutions, right? Micron and Samsung, for instance.
Well, that's true. And also, there are a number of new memory standards out there, and they need support. They need an ecosystem. Cadence today, in fact, announced memory models for 5 new memory standards, including wide I/O and hybrid memory cube. And that's just another small step in the direction of bringing these standards out to a broader marketplace.
And we heard today that the problems are not inconsequential going forward. So everybody is pursuing various kinds of solutions, but things like DDR3 and DDR4, according to at least some of the panelists on Jim Handy's panel, are going to be okay for the next 3 to 4 years as some of these other solutions sort of get vetted at the early design stages.
You mentioned earlier that the positive takeaway from this today is that everybody's kind of working together, and you say pushing the ball down the field together, because there are some challenges, and Richard had mentioned this before. Go ahead. You
can't get to where the industry wants to get today without that cooperation. Maybe 15, 20 years ago you could sort of Bigfoot the whole problem, but you can't now because the problems are so enormous and we're running into certain physics walls that you have cooperations through standards bodies and through corporate consortiums and IP partnerships, and that's the only way that we're going to get the ball down the field.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions remaining, like if you have a 3D stack of die, who drills the hole? Who drills the through silicon vias that allow them to communicate? who takes responsibility if something goes wrong? You've got this whole ecosystem of partners out there, foundries, OSATs, packaging, assembly, test houses. It's not yet quite clear exactly who does what, but the industry is working on it.
Fantastic. Well, thanks guys for joining me. For Richard Goering and Mr. Brian Fuller, my name is Sean O'Kane with ChipEstimate TV. We'll see you next time.